everybody! So as you can tell, this is a travel video, bon voyage, and I've got my like Caribbean earrings on, pink lipstick if you can tell. I am in the mood to go somewhere warm that is not the Arctic tundra of death. I am like craving the beach because we haven't been since last May. Which is crazy.
Where was that? Oh, the Bahamas.
Yeah, I know. So I'm trying to figure out a way how we can go to a beach somewhere and get Ashley to go sooner rather than later. Is where I'm kind of at. Anyway, we have had so many questions recently about how we plan our trips, like the process, everything like that. We've done a couple blog posts on it, but we realized that we've never filmed a video about it. We've filmed a ton of like packing trip videos, like airport travel hacks, things like that, but nothing about like how we plan the trips. So I have got a big outline here of exactly what I do, and this kind of comes at a good time because I plan out most of the trips, and I've been doing that now for this year, so I thought this was a great time to film it because it's fresh in my mind. I'm getting everything done, so yeah.
And at the end of this video, we will announce the first 4 places
Woo!
that we're going in 2018, one of them very, very soon. And we've already announced in our newsletter. So if you always want to be the first to know new stuff, make sure that you subscribe to our newsletter.
Yep.
We'll link it below.
Down below.
We announced that several weeks ago. So if you subscribe to our newsletter, you already know.
Yep.
But if you don't, stay tuned to the end of this video and we'll tell you.
All right, so step 1 in planning any of our trips is coming up with our bucket list for the year. So Ashley and I are kind of a little different maybe from some of the norm where like we literally want to go everywhere. Like there's not one place that we don't want to go. So the whole world is our bucket list,
right,
but we have to narrow it down to, okay, like what do we want to do this year? What do we want out of this year? Do we want to go to the beach? Do we want to do mountains? Do we want to hike? Do we want to explore? What do we want to do this year? So we did that, I think it was back in September. We sat down, and so like all of this is like a long time coming because you have to prepare, you know, money and how much things are gonna cost and everything like that. So back in September, we came up with our bucket list for the year. That was kind of a day where we sat down, and that takes me to like my next step because this kind of goes along with that. We did a very small amount of research on each place right then together to see if it was even possible. Like there was one trip that we wanted to go on, we can say it because we're not doing it this year. We wanted to do a Norwegian cruise, which went to like Russia, Finland, Estonia, like all these cool places.
Like 8 or 9 different places.
Yeah, it was really cool, but it was gonna take up a lot of our time and a ton of our money, and we decided that we would rather go to more places instead of like more trips, not just like one. That's a lot of countries, but not just like in one go. We wanted to go to more places spread out throughout the year. So that's why we turned against that this year. So that's kind of what we do. We come up with our list of what we ideally want to do. Then we tweaked a few things because it just wasn't going to work out with the time of year, the timing, money, everything like that. So then we got it down to what we have for this year, which is super exciting. So when you're coming up with your places, you need to know how many places you're gonna be able to go to that year. You know, look at your vacation days at work, how much money you have available to go on trips. You know, I find it easier if you have like a total number, like your big number that you're allocating for any vacations or trips the entire year, and then you can decide through that like how many you want to go to, because depending on where you live, things can be way cheaper, so you can do more stuff. So that's kind of personal to you how you're going to be able to allocate that, but that's definitely our first step, is come up with your bucket list, your list of places that under no uncertain terms you are going to this year.
So the next step is deciding which destinations you want to go to in which month. And there's a few factors in this. One of the things that you should do is do a couple quick searches on flights. When is the high season, when is the low season for these places? If it's a really popular time to go, then the flights are going to be more expensive. So is that important to you? Do you have some flexibility in your dates? Or do you only have a certain, you know, month that you're allowed to take vacation? You know, just look at those things, because if there's some flexibility, then you're going to be able to get a cheaper price. So look at flights, look at any hotels that you want to stay in. What is their availability? If it's a really popular hotel, they might not have any availability in the month that you're trying to go. So if that is something that's important to you, look at that. And then just make a list of activities that you want to do in that place and see, you know, what is available during the time of year. Some destinations will have activities that are available year round. Some are very specific. Like if you want to go skiing.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. We would like to go to Switzerland. I don't think we're doing it this year, but we would like to do that. And it was kind of like, okay, do we want to go there in the summer when it's still beautiful, but it wouldn't be as cold, or do we want to go in the winter and kind of have that winter skiing experience? And we've kind of decided together that we want to go in the winter time at some point to Switzerland. So you have to think about it like that, because a lot of places can be really regional specific like that with the weather.
Well, and I just remember when we were planning our Iceland trip, the weather there, similar to what would be in Switzerland, is kind of extreme. During their summer, it's still cold, but there are things that are not available to do, whereas in the winter, there's different things. And so it's not like there's a lack of activities, but it's just different kinds of activities. So what is the most important type of activity for you? So do a little bit of research and figure all of that out, and that will help you nail down what destinations you should go to in which months of the year.
Alright, so the biggest thing that I find helpful is to make an Excel spreadsheet. I live by my travel Excel spreadsheet. I don't know, maybe I'll do like a close-up shot. Let me go grab it, hang on. Okay, I'll insert some like close-up footage as I'm talking. So I just wanted to have this in front of me so I can talk you through it. So what I do is I do a little thing at the top and I write out the dates, where we're going, and then I do like flight, hotel, car, food, activities, those, so that I can put like how much I think it's gonna cost when I'm doing like the planning, and then so it can total it out for me so I know how much we're doing. And then I change it when we actually book something to what the exact price is, because that can change some things. And I put whether we've already bought it, whether we've reserved a car, just so you can keep track of everything that you've done, because sometimes if you have so many like emails coming in, you can't remember like, oh, did I book that flight? Did I just think about booking it? Like I have it written down like, yes, we already did that, it's good to go. And then at the bottom I keep a list of things to do in that place, places to stay and places to eat. So I have it all in like one little section, and that's how I go about planning it per se. I look at other people's blogs, I watch YouTube videos. Pinterest is a huge thing for us. That's where we start. So definitely follow us on Pinterest if you're not, because all of our inspiration kind of comes from Pinterest or Instagram.
Instagram's, it used to be just solely Pinterest. I feel like Instagram's really a good search tool. Use it like a search engine. Put in the place that you're looking at and see just generally the country, the city, but then also like specific either activities or restaurants, and see what other people are posting there. So the next thing that I do when like, well, actually I'll talk about this in a second. Let's move on first. So I keep everything in the spreadsheet, but then the next thing that we always do is set up Google flight alerts for the places, because as you guys probably know, flight prices fluctuate like crazy. So it's so easy, you just type in like Google flights into Google, and there's and you type in like your destination and the dates and everything, and there's like a little like toggle thing that you can do that says like track this flight, and it will email you every time the flight price changes. And they change drastically. We bought a few when like maybe we weren't necessarily ready to buy it yet, but like the price went like way down, and we're like, you can't pass this up, you need to do it. Because like you can't like search for these flights every day, A, and B, that messes with your cookies and they up the price for you the more you search for it. So it's better to track it through Google instead of you searching for it every day. So that's step number one. And we always try and book the flights and hotels first, and I'd like to do those together, ideally like within a few days of each other, or ideally on the same day, just to make sure that everything's good, that you know it's gonna work out.
Right, because we don't like to, well, I guess some people do, we don't pay for like the insurance coverage like that, like the airlines offer or like the hotels offer. It's like, oh, if you need to cancel this, like we never do that, because I'm always so sure about how everything's gonna work out before we book it. So yeah, ideally do those together.
It would suck if you have your flight booked and then there's zero hotel availability in the place that you want to go for those dates. So always at least search that before you book anything.
Yes, for sure. So next is planning out the kind of the itinerary of it. And one of the biggest things that I do is I go to my list. It's in my spreadsheet. I have the hotels, the list of things to do, where to eat, everything, and I make a Google map of that place, and I pin each of those places so I can see just where in the city each of those things are. I pin the hotel that we're staying at and be like, okay, this stuff is walking distance, this stuff we have to drive to, this stuff like all needs to happen in one day because it's next to each other. Like, that is the easiest way I found to plan our itineraries. So I think you should definitely do that if you don't, because otherwise you could just be so confused, and you could be going to one place and then to another, and then you're like, oh wait, but I'm going back here, but I was just here. Like, it makes things so complicated.
You're spending your money on this trip, so you want it to be as efficient as possible, I'm assuming, so you can see as much as you possibly can during the very small amount of time that you are there. So this is great for creating that logistic plan for your trip.
So then, as you're kind of doing that map, if there's any activities that you're doing that needs to be paid for in advance, such as like Disney World, for example, like most of the time you'll buy those tickets in advance. You won't necessarily like walk up to the park and buy them. I think you can, but something like that, any like shows that you want to go see, like those tickets probably need to be made in advance. You need to do that very soon after you booked your hotel and your flight, depending on how far out you're booking this as well. I would say at least 2 to 3 months before you go, if it's an activity like that, especially a show, because stuff like that can sell out.
A lot of times as well, things are cheaper if you book them in advance. If you book them in advance online, you not only save time having to stand in line when you get to your destination, but oftentimes it's cheaper.
Yeah. And then I recommend any restaurant reservations that you want to make, do that a week out. So we are actually going on a trip this weekend, and I made those, well, we're filming this in advance, but 2 days before this video went up is when I made the reservations, which was a week out. So that's how I always do that. And that's kind of like our process. Is there anything else you want to add to it? It's very simple, and I have it down to a science, and I can just whip things out just because we've done this so much. And definitely, if this is your like first vacation that you're planning, it can be really overwhelming because there's just so much information now. But I think just staying organized, putting together a board on Pinterest of things you want to do, save a collection on Instagram of things you want to do in that place. Definitely keep track of the monetary side. That's why I love Excel spreadsheets, because you can just put in the equations and it'll do it all for you, which is great. Yeah, I mean, organization is key.
Yeah, I think the hardest part for me, I don't know how everybody else is just picking the destination.
Yeah.
Because there's so many cool places, like how do you decide? So the part that I enjoy the most is doing just the general research about the place and just figuring out which place I want to go to. It's the most enjoyable, but it's also probably the hardest.
Yeah, definitely. I know, because I'm already like not second guessing, but like I've been talking about, I want to go somewhere beachy, and we have one later in the year that I'm still not 100% sure about, but like I want to go somewhere like now. So that's where I'm at. But
do you guys think she wants to go to the beach? How many videos has she talked about it in now?
Well, my struggle is we kind of have the first half of the year like 100% settled down, like those are happening no matter what. The second half of the year we have planned out ideally what we want to do, but we kind of take it 6 months at a time. So we have those planned out and the dates and everything, but just the confirmed ones are the first 6 in the first half of the year. But the problem is I want to go somewhere beachy, like in the Caribbean, but kind of that second half of the year is like hurricane season, and because we don't like to pay for like the insurance stuff like that, like I don't want to book a trip to the Caribbean and then something happened and we can't go. So that's kind of where I'm at. So we're gonna talk about it later.
Oh boy.
Anyway, so if you have any more specific questions, leave them down below. We'll answer them. If there's enough, we can do a whole nother video. If there's kind of a topic that we didn't really cover that you want to know more about. But yeah, that's kind of our process. It's way simpler than I think some people make it out to be. I think it's just, it seems so daunting and it feels like, oh my gosh, you can't do this, but it's really easier than you think. You can totally do it. You just have to stay organized.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right, actually, before we announce our first trips,
I can anticipate the biggest question is going to be, how do you guys travel so much?
So that's kind of a lengthy question to answer because it's a lot of different things put together. We save our money for traveling because that is the one thing that we know we want to do. So we, don't go out to eat very often. We don't spend a lot of money on other things. In the city, we try and do things that are free. We try not to pay for them because traveling is the one thing we want to do. Instead of buying 10 sweaters at Zara that I really want, I can save that money to pay for a trip. So we kind of budget that. And then we also do things to make our trips a little cheaper. So we fly budget airlines sometimes. And one of our trips this year, and we did it twice last year, we flew Norwegian, and the tickets were like right at $300, I think, to fly to Europe. So instead of paying $1,000 like we have before for London, we pay $300 to go the same distance. So it's taking measures like that. We now try and carry on our bags because those fees add up. So it's little measures like that we do to help save our money, and it's just a lot of planning and budgeting on our part and to make that happen.
So the other thing that we do as travel influencers, or whatever you want to call us, we partner with the destinations that we're traveling to get maybe like a free hotel stay in exchange for doing a blog post or talking about it on Instagram or on YouTube, so that they get some exposure and we get to save a little bit of money also on activities, that kind of stuff. So anytime that we can do that, we do that a lot, and that helps us on our end as well as the brands.
And I want to add to this, and I'm not sure you've seen it and I haven't talked to you about it. There's been kind of some drama about this whole like bloggers reaching out to hotels to get free stays situation. So there was a blogger who reached out to a hotel in Ireland and asked for a free 5-night stay. And it was handled wrongly on both parts because they like published her email on Facebook and like called her out and was like, no, like we would never do this, and now they're banning like all bloggers and influencers from staying at their hotel. Here's my thoughts on that. We have never and will never ask for a free 5-night stay. Never. And their reasoning why they said no is because who's gonna pay for, the people that come and clean and everything, all the staff in the hotel who are taking care of you, like who's gonna pay for that if you're getting this for free? I completely understand that and agree with it. So we've only ever had one hotel given to us for free, and that's because honestly it was a brand new hotel and they needed exposure. So that's pretty much rare. We really only ever get like a 10 or 20% discount, and we're still spending a ton of money at the hotel, and it's not so much to where the hotel is not being diminished, but like that their employees are still getting paid. Like we would never ask for a 5-night stay for free. And really when we reach out to hotels, it's never really to get it like completely comped, because I agree with the hotels on this that like they need that money to keep their business afloat as well.
Yeah, but I mean, from our perspective, we are going to be talking about this hotel. It's promotion for them, so why not get compensated slightly for that, for sharing that with everybody? That's my viewpoint.
And sometimes we agree to like where they'll repost pictures of ours so that we're being exposed to their followers and vice versa. So it's a symbiotic relationship.
Right.
Yeah,
it's a complicated thing. I mean,
it is. It's very controversial and it's awkward.
It's awkward to like reach out and be like, hey, want to give us a discount?
We've never had an experience like this blogger did with that hotel. Some people do come back and say, no, we don't offer any, but they're very cordial and nice about it. But anybody that does, they're always very welcoming, very happy to do it. So, I guess it just depends. I mean, you never know what the response is going to be when you email somebody, but yeah. I mean, that is a big part of us. It does allow us to be able to do this, because then we get to experience things and figure out the best places for you guys to visit, if you go to any of these places, and we would never stay at a place just because they offer us a discount. This has happened several times where we reach out to a ton of hotels and then we kind of narrow it down based on who responds, and there's been several that offer us a discount and we're like, no, I just don't think this is the right fit for us.
It's not in a good location.
We don't think it's a place that maybe like our followers would like. Maybe it's too expensive of a place. Maybe it's just not a great place for us to go. So we've turned people down like that even after we've reached out, just because we're very careful about what we promote to you guys, and we would never ever just promote something because they give us a discount. So just wanted to put that out there, but it is something that happens that does allow us to be able to do this.
Yes. So drum roll, drum roll. Okay, pause for drum roll. The 4 places that we are traveling to first in 2018. One in just a couple of days. Number 1, Charleston, South Carolina. We've never been, and we're very excited.
I have been.
She keeps forgetting that you've been. I have not been.
I have been there.
Very excited. Our mom's coming with us. We're gonna have just a fun little girls weekend for a little long weekend. Very excited. That is coming up very soon. Trip number 2.
In February, we are going to LA and Palm Springs, which we're very excited about. We've said this before, LA is not like our favorite place in the world, so that's why we're going to Palm Springs for a day or so before we go to LA. We're actually going to a conference there. Very excited about that, to get a little bit of the warm weather. It's not my beach Caribbean vacation that
but it's warm.
But it's warm.
It'll be a nice escape from the cold New York. Trip number 3 is going to be in March, and we actually just booked that yesterday.
We did.
And we are going to Copenhagen. We're very excited.
So excited.
You guys know we've been to a few other like Nordic countries. We went to Norway last March, and so we're really excited to see Copenhagen and what that has to offer. So excited to start planning that one. And then trip number 4 is going to be in April, and that will
it's not in, oh yes, oh my gosh, I was moving ahead to May. I was about to say the wrong one. Oh my gosh. I completely forgot about this one, and I don't know why.
Oh no, this is the one I'm probably looking forward to.
I'm really excited about it. We are going to Jackson Hole in Wyoming. We have actually been before. We've talked, I think I talked about this in a video.
But you should insert some of that.
Yeah, I'll insert some of the footage really quick. I was like 3, I think, so I really don't remember it. We're so excited. It's just gonna be a fun little getaway, like in the mountains. Just a fun little girls trip. Alex is coming with us. This is her birthday trip, so we're super excited about that. But yeah, oh my gosh, I can't believe I almost revealed May. Oh my gosh.
We have further plans, but that's all that we have announced. So we'll announce the rest of the year as it gets a little closer, but those are our first 4 trips. So if you've been to any of those places and have any recommendations for us, your favorite things to do, see, stay, leave us a comment down below and let us know.
Alright, make sure you give us a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel right here. We need to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of February to keep some of our rights and to be able to give you guys the same kind of videos that we do now. So please subscribe.
If you're not subscribed, tell your mom, tell your boyfriend, tell your brother, tell your neighbor. Everybody needs to subscribe.
And don't forget, watch our latest video right here. We'll see you guys next time. Bye!